Coming to you live from the traveling Built Ford Tough studio. Boomer Esiason, Greg Giannotti, it's Boomer and Gio on the fan. Simulcast across the country on CBS Sports Network and wherever you are in the free Odyssey app. Good Wednesday morning. We are live from the site of the 2024 Travelers Championship, one of the elevated events on the PGA Tour here in Cromwell, Connecticut. We have been up here before. We are back. This is, of course, one of the bigger events now that the PGA Tour is doing after all the live stuff. They made the purses bigger and all of that stuff, and Rory McIlroy decides he's just going to take a couple weeks off, and he's not going to be here when he committed to this months ago. But we do have a lot of sports to talk about, man. Ton of sports. You got the New York Mets, the hottest team in baseball since May 28th. Yes, I said that. The hottest team in baseball since May 28th. Looks like the Yankees dodged another injury bullet last night. Very, very scary with Aaron Judge's hand. And, of course, we inch closer and closer to NFL training camps, and that's the next time I was thinking we're going to be sitting outside waiting to do a show is going to be at those NFL training camps. But we don't want to rush that. We got a long summer to go, and we got two baseball teams that are interesting. Good morning, Boomer. How are you?
I'm a little bit tired this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a hell of a drive coming up here yesterday, all the way from Red Bank, New Jersey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did it with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was a little bit ahead of you.
You were?
Yep.
I didn't hit as much traffic as you did.
Yeah, hit some traffic.
I was looking at my Waze, and I was trying to think, okay, it's going to be, 151 miles, I think it was? Is that right?
Roughly.
I was thinking, okay, when can I leave where I'm not going to hit any traffic anywhere along the way? And I left at 7:30.
Smart.
And there was no traffic. I just put the old cruise control on 75, breaking the law a little bit, and just went straight. And Waze took me to our hotel last night. I got in last night around 10:30.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got up there about 9 o'clock, and I did hit some traffic, but it was all good. And I showed up, and I had a handicap room, and I was kind of bothered by that because I was like, what if someone actually needed this?
Well, if they needed it, they would have already gotten it.
Yeah, but then what if somebody showed up who they didn't expect? And they're like, hey, I need a handicap room, and like, this jerk's in the handicap room.
At 9 o'clock at night.
Who knows, man?
I do know this.
Got to keep that thing open.
I do know this from traveling with Gunnar when he was younger. You know, he has a disability. It's considered a disability, so there are certain arrangements that can be made. And believe you me when I say this, people within the disability community are very well prepared for when they travel. And they make sure that everything is right before they go. Most of the people that I've ever met in that situation. So you didn't do anything wrong.
I didn't. They put me in the handicap room.
Well, they probably had an extra room, and they wanted to give you a little extra space because usually those rooms are a little bit bigger.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I
maybe they knew
so.
that you needed a handle in the bed, in the shower or something, or next to the toilet.
Yeah, I guess there was an extra bar in there. I was leaning against this morning. I was letting the Cromwell water splash on my face, getting ready for the program this morning. But yeah, so we were supposed to have a couple of guests today. We've already had one back out this morning, apparently.
It's probably better anyway.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. Well, we'll see. We'll see by that time that he came on if we're tired of talking to one another.
Here's the thing, though. You did say something very important, and I know that Rory McIlroy was crushed by losing the U.S. Open, especially the way that he lost the U.S. Open and the way that people are perceiving it within the golf world. It's not easy to suck it up and turn around and get your game ready for the next week. But this purse here, the Traveler's Purse, is an elevated purse. It's one of the things that came out of the whole LIV fiasco. And it's a $20 million purse. And you are, unfortunately, Rory is the face of, along with Scotty Scheffler. Scotty Scheffler will be here today. He'll be teeing off this morning in the Pro-Am early here. But those guys are the face of this PGA Tour. I mean, they need to be out, and they need to be seen, and they need to be pushing this product. Because as we saw against Bryson DeChambeau, who is a LIV golfer, right now, as great as Scotty Scheffler is, and as much money as he already has won and how many tournaments he's won, he's not playing against those LIV golfers. And to me, I think right now, if I had to guess, the personality, the type of game he plays, Bryson DeChambeau is the face of professional golf.
Yeah, right now he is. He's on top of the world, and I am sensitive to the fact that Rory's also going through a personal situation as well. It's been in the headlines, and divorce on, divorce off, so that is part of the story, but it really is just mind-numbing to me that Rory McIlroy for the last year plus has been talking about the PGA Tour and being loyal to the PGA Tour and making these changes to compete with LIV, and this being one of the events that they elevated with the purse, and just because he had a miserable Sunday at the U.S. Open, he decides not to show up. He's going to take a 3-week sabbatical? What?
Here's the other thing. You said, he's going through some personal things. Unless it's a death or something like that, I mean, he does have a responsibility for all the other guys that that stayed on the PGA Tour and tried to promote the PGA Tour and grow golf, because growing golf is so important to these guys.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's real important to the PGA Tour, too, since they give us no guests when we're coming up here.
Yeah.
So they're really growing the game. Your biggest star decides not to show up at the tournament, and then we're here and you don't give us any guests. So who's trying to grow the game? I guess Bryson DeChambeau is, because he's on YouTube every 2 seconds. Everybody loves him. He's figured it out somehow, but everybody around here has no clue. But, I mean, for Rory to sit up there and for months and months and months and months talk about, the loyalty and staying here and how we're going to make changes and be in a room with Jay Monahan and we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and then to just be like, you know what? Not important enough for me. I need a little bit of a break. Like, imagine if Justin Jefferson dropped the pass against the Green Bay Packers on a Monday night game that could have clinched a playoff spot with 3 weeks to go, and then just decided, you know what? I'm going to take the next 3 weeks off because I dropped that pass, and it really it bothered me so much. Imagine that in any other sport.
How about a quarterback throwing 4 interceptions and losing a game on a touchdown return?
Did you take the next 3 weeks off at any point?
And you got to show up next week in the home stadium in which you did what you did the week before. That takes balls to do it, and that's I don't know. Listen, at the end of the day, we could sit here and just rail all we want. It doesn't really matter. I mean, unless LIV and PGA come together, it's only going to be about the majors. And by the way, remember I was saying I thought maybe the U.S. Open would have better ratings than the Masters, and I was proven wrong, so I'm going to take the L on that.
Oh, taking an L.
As one of my buddies sent me the ratings, and the ratings for the Masters were better than the U.S. Open, which I am shocked by, other than the fact that Sunday, Father's Day, was a beautiful day.
Yeah, in the East Coast, everywhere.
So everybody might have been outside, but with those two names and those two guys coming down to the last 4 or 5 holes to try to win the U.S. Open, you would think that it would have been a huge rating, but it wasn't. It was a very mediocre rating, and it was outrated by the Masters.
Yeah, what makes less sense, Rory McIlroy not being here or us being here?
Us being here, actually.
Yeah, okay, that makes less sense.
And where we came from to be here. So I just MFing Bob Gelb the whole way up here, the whole way.
Well,
I'm like, what the F am I doing right now? I could have been right there at due process, could have stayed there again another night. Oh, my God, it doesn't get much better than that.
But then at least, we're going to sit next to Colin Morikawa, Xander Schauffele, Tony Finau, Scotty Scheffler. They're all joining us today, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
And by the way, the other disgrace. Now, I know we talked about this, about Caitlin Clark not making the U.S. Women's Olympic team, right?
Yeah.
And I get it, although she's really playing a lot better. I know Alan and Jerry were talking a little bit about her performance and the ratings between her Fever and the Sky with Angel Reese, her nemesis, I guess.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they got good ratings, and these are two teams with losing records, so it tells you just how impactful Caitlin Clark is. But I didn't think like a couple weeks ago that she deserved to be on the Olympic team because she didn't merit it. It's a meritocracy. It's not handed to you. But the last few games that she's played, she's finally figured it out, and her teammates are finally figuring out what she can do for them. And it's starting to work, and it's starting to look like she really knows what's going on and that she is becoming one of the better players in the WNBA. But when you think about Bryson DeChambeau not on the U.S. Olympic team, I mean, do you want to watch? I mean, do I really even care?
I've never paid attention to Olympic golf, so no. I mean, he should be on the team. It's silly now. All this stuff needs to end. I think everybody understands that. But I've never in my life paid attention to Olympic golf.
Well, I know that, and it's taken hold the last. I guess Xander Schauffele won the gold, right? I believe.
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess it's because he doesn't have enough official world golf ranking numbers because LIV does not count. And I understand why, because they only play 54 holes as opposed to 72 holes and all these others. Yeah, LIV is right. And but so Scotty Scheffler, Xander Schauffele, Wyndham Clark, and Colin Morikawa all will represent the U.S., but
all of them here, none of them coming on the show.
Exactly. And not even talking about the U.S. Olympic team.
Yeah, right.
Which is even more ridiculous.
They're all here. All those guys you mentioned, they're
know
all
what-
right here.
I don't
They're
know.
all out there somewhere.
USA! USA! Okay, great. Okay,
I think if we just scream at them, they'll come up here. Remember last year, John Rahm walked by. It was funny, and I waved to John Rahm, and then there was that drop that Eddie hit of you going. Yep. And then there was another one. I hope you hit it in the water.
I hope you hit it in the water. Get in the bunker.
And he was walking by hearing that stuff, looking up like, what the hell is going on?
I'll tell you one thing. It's going to be hotter than hell out here, though.
Yeah,
Oof.
I know.
This is going to be this is the worst week of the year thus far in terms of heat and humidity. We played yesterday, but it was nice down in Jersey.
It was nice.
Nice breeze down there, but this is going to be hot, man. Oof.
Yeah. You know, there was a time that Mike Francesa left here in the middle of his show because it was too hot.
I may do the same thing.
He just got up and left. Like he was doing a show, and he just picked up his stuff, put the headset down, got up and went home. And then they had to dial up Richard Neer out of nowhere to do his show from his bedroom.
Hey, get Richard Neer on hold, baby. Either that or Al and Jerry again. And by the way, can you explain to me how Jerry shows up at the Beach Tavern an hour and a half before we get there?
All right, so this is how it happened. I can't explain it to you. I don't agree with it, but I can explain it to you. So I said, all right, we're playing it this time. If we play and then go, it's probably going to be right around the 5:30 mark. So I said, but I'll text you a half hour before so you know when to leave because you're a half hour away from the restaurant. So that's what I do. A half hour from the time that we're going to be there, I text Jerry, hey, we'll be there in a half an hour. He goes, I've been here for an hour. So his explanation was that he thought I was going to forget to text him.
Oh, see, that's a bad job on his part.
Right, but I
How
am
long
not
does he know
sloppy
you?
in that way
No,
at
you
all.
are- you
I'm
are
on
buttoned
top
up.
of things.
You are totally buttoned up.
So he goes, what I didn't want to do was have Gio forget to text me and then say, hey, we're at the restaurant, where are you? And then all of a sudden Jerry gets crushed for not being a part of the dinner. So he took a risk. A calculated guess, and it blew up in his face in a way.
And I told you every time we go to Jersey, what happens?
It's a thing.
It's a thing.
Everybody's got to show off their things.
We got to be a part of everybody's thing.
I got
which
cigars,
is great.
I got boats, I got houses, I got this. Everybody come in and see it.
I got this access to that restaurant. We got all this. We got this
check out
over
my
here.
dogs.
Look at this.
Yeah,
I know. It was great. It's great to be a part of a thing, but I told you, you gotta get really focused in because most of those guys down there are huge listeners of ours. Yes. We go to Doug Wells' house, right? He's got two Pomeranians
that hate each other.
I
mean, holy
so,
they're just at each other's necks.
So Al, I go into the house, and I'm a dog person, right? So I love the dogs, and so they come over, and they're sniffing and everything. And next thing I know, they're getting ready to tear into each other. I mean, and I just put them aside like this, and I said, everybody stop!
And he grabbed the one and made it face his face. He goes, calm down. Calm down. Calm down. And then you put him back down, and then it went right for the dog again. And that's when you picked them both up like footballs, and I got this great picture. I'll send it to Waldron to send back to the control room to put it up there because it's one of the great pictures I've ever taken of you. It's just awesome. But yeah, no. Listen, down in Jersey, it worked out tremendously well. I mean, your tournament yesterday couldn't have gone smoother. So
only one monkey wrench, honestly. There was only one monkey wrench.
The one guy who's never take anything seriously.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, go ahead and tell the story because it's hilarious. So, all right, so I'll give you this part because you weren't privy to this. So, behind my group is Craig's group, Craig Carton's group. So he comes up to me as we're waiting because there was a little bit of a backup, and he goes, he's like, yeah. He's like, how you playing? I'm like, yeah, okay. He goes, yeah, I'm about 7 now. I said, 7 what? He goes, 7 under. I'm like, come on.
Yes.
What? So then I'm like, obviously he's messing around, but it turns out that he was putting in his scores,
Yeah.
and like every hole he was giving himself either a birdie or an eagle.
Yeah, I know. So in the cart, in some of the carts, you can actually do the automatic scoring or the automated scoring.
Yeah.
And I had one of those cards, so I could put my score in, and I can hit the leaderboard, and I can see the celebrity leaderboard.
Yes.
Casey Cizikas is up there. Sean O'Hara's up there. Alexei Kovalev is up there.
Right.
Ryan Pulak's up there. Matt Martin's up there. And who's on the top? Craig Carton.
Minus 23.
Minus 23. And I'm like, yeah, okay. So I'm playing with Craig's buddies down there. They're my buddies and his buddies. So
Yeah.
I was playing with those guys. And I told them, like, after 4 holes, and Craig's like 8 under after 4 holes. I'm like, you know what he's doing, don't you?
Oh,
He's
yeah,
just
yeah.
totally trying to take over the whole thing. Which he did, and then he got mad at me because I didn't give him the first place after he said he shot 24 under. I'm like, yeah, go kiss my ass. I said, I love you, bro, but you're not winning this golf tournament. I'm sorry.
Right, and then he goes, yeah, I was 23 under, and I got 23 shots. And I said, so you shot even par out there? He's like, yeah, I did. I was like, come on. Who ended up, who was technically first?
Casey Cizikas.
Oh, Cizikas. Okay,
Yeah.
nice.
So
nice.
Casey had a great round, and it was great to see him. He was really happy, and he didn't want to leave last night. I don't know what time those guys left, but they didn't want to leave either. So I left them there at 7:30, so I have no idea what time they left. But
They're probably still there.
A huge thank you to Tony Hooks and Ron Cohen and everybody down there at Due Process. It was an amazing day. And we raised a lot of money, and a big thank you to Ray Katina, who made a sizable donation out of the blue.
That was amazing.
Which basically took my breath away. So I just want to say thank you to all those guys, all the members, all the staff down there, and certainly all the guys that made the trek down to Due Process, because it's not easy getting from any point in Long Island down to Due Process. And those guys all made it, and I appreciated it. So worked out to be a great day. And here we are at the Travelers.
That's right.
And nobody's here.
No, well, there's got to be some people out on the range.
I don't see anybody.
Things have to be happening pretty soon.
Some people milling around.
Milling around.
There's a lot of milling around.
A lot of milling around. All right.
Yes.
Jerry's going to join us in a couple of minutes with his first update of the morning, and you're going to have some Yankees and Mets stuff. And, yes, the Mets continue to win. It's Boomer and Gio on the Fan and CBS Sports Network.